Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 9th episode of the Oddcast podcast, a variety podcast in which we bring you media news, rankings, sometimes even reviewing shows, movies, books, TTRPG rulebooks, maybe one day, and a bunch of other stuff that we do to keep you entertained for about 45 minutes to an hour, just to see and to keep you company when you're doing things like chores, or maybe on a walk, or maybe you want to sit here and watch us as we rattle on about stuff that went on the last week in the world of pop culture, media, and all that other stuff going on.
Yep.
Pop. I am Halo Kirby. This is Flint Quill, and we are here going to be entertaining you for the next 45 or so minutes. Give it
Yes. We will be entertaining you. Please do not resist. I would like to start things off here today with a classic 2.5 Truths segment. Are you ready?
Ah, yes. I am always ready for you to catch me up on what's been going on with you.
All right.
Your life.
Well, then you better be ready at 2 a.m. when I have a panic attack and tell you 2.5 truths. So
I am always not conscious, but I will be there.
right, in spirit.
I'll be there in spirit.
So my first truth is, I guess, kind of sort of disconnected from our usual discourse. I've been watching the French Open, which is...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's one of the 4 Grand Slam tournaments in tennis, and it takes place on a clay court, which is really cool. Basically, the difference that the clay court provides is that the ball tends to bounce higher, and it tends to be a little bit slower, kind of loopier shots. So, matches on clay courts tend to be much more brutal and really test the player's stamina. Yeah, there have been some really great long 5-set matches, an unusual amount of coming back from 2 sets down victories. Yeah, I just wanted to, highlight the fact that most of the players that we thought were going to win the French Open are actually out of it. So we are going to have a new French Open champion. There have been a few upsets, so that's pretty exciting.
Shout outs to popular sport, tennis.
Indeed, yes, all of the sports balls. My second truth is that I actually mentioned this earlier, but I'm in a math program, and so the way it works is, like, after your first year, you have to take a qualifying exam, and if you fail it, then you have to take it after your second year, and if you fail it the second time, then you're kicked out. Thankfully, I passed it the first time, and then you also have to take like 2 preliminary exams after that before you can start working on a dissertation. So I took the first one in August, and then I just passed the second one a few days ago. But the interesting thing about this one is that in order to pass this second exam, I actually found a loophole on one of the questions, and I had to deceive my professor in order to pass it.
Okay.
Yep. My third and final truth is, in preparation for Spider-Man Brand New Day, I have been kind of going back and trying to start rewatching some of the Spider-Man movies. And this is relevant because we're going to be talking about Spider-Noir in the third segment. But I, rewatched the Sam Raimi trilogy with Tobey Maguire recently over the past few weeks. And I have to say, Spider-Man 3 was actually my favorite in the trilogy.
Really?
So those
all of these are based in truth in some way, since it's all 2.5 truths.
Yeah. Choices.
Oh, I can't say I know much about the French Open. I do know Spider-Man 3 is not the most well-liked film in that trilogy. I don't know how Higher Than Higher Education treats deception. I'm going to say the second one.
Okay.
That's the half-truth.
You would be correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was right.
So, yeah, the French Open, I mean, everything's true about that. So, I want to be clear that it was half truthful because I actually did find a loophole in one of the questions, and like one of the questions was basically like, prove that there are infinitely many like elements whose norm is bounded above by some constant, and the professor forgot to put the fact that these elements also have to be positive. And so I was like, oh, well, if we consider all the negative numbers, then yeah, there are an infinite number of negative numbers. So there you go. And on the grading remarks, he actually put like, okay, you got me. Of course, I meant to put the absolute value on here. But it turns out that it's okay. I mean, even if you subtract all of the points from that question, I still would have passed. So we're all good. But
heck yeah, man. Good for you. That's awesome.
Appreciate it. So the thing about
Could never.
the thing about Spider-Man 3, the way I worded this very carefully, because I said Spider-Man 3 was my favorite in the trilogy. I'm using "was" in a very liberal sense here, in the sense that Spider-Man 3 was my favorite as a kid. I know that now, of course, with a little bit of a keener eye when it comes to cinema, Spider-Man 1 and 2 are much tighter screenplays. They're much less messy, and they tell just as compelling stories, right? The issue with Spider-Man 3, as most people who have seen it know, is that there are just a whole grab bag of villains, and the plot is just a little bit disorganized, shall we say. There's the whole amnesia thing that Harry Osborn, James Franco's character, goes through, which is amnesia has to be one of the stupidest plot devices ever conceived by humankind. I know all of my fellow One Piece fans out there will commiserate about the Big Mom thing whenever. Yeah, that was really frustrating. So it is frustrating here in Spider-Man 3. I think Spider-Man 3 just has so much sauce. There's so much choreography, and that's for some reason Sam Raimi was just obsessed with doing aerial battles in Spider-Man 3. People are just constantly falling out of buildings and punching each other in the air in this one, which is really cool because okay, if you have a character that can shoot webs out of their hands and save themselves from falling, then maybe it would be good to capitalize on that by introducing some aerial combat in your choreography. So that part is really cool. I actually think that all three of the villains, those being the Sandman, Venom symbiote, and Harry Osborn's Green Goblin thing, I think that all three of those are individually very interesting villains. Unfortunately, they all kind of step on each other's toes because they're in the same movie. So,
yeah, you just needed one.
Yeah.
Two, max.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think three is a bit too much. Well, with the 2.5 truths revealed to the world, why don't we go on to some Dudunqua?
Indeed, Dundqua. And maybe, yeah, you know what, as you said, so we can follow the naming convention from Pokemon, right? So the evolution of Dunsparce is Dudunsparce. So maybe we did Dundqua last time, maybe this is Dudunqua.
Or it's me mispronouncing things, but it's
the dual Dungeons and Dragons Q&A segment. Clayton, I actually a couple days ago I actually participated in a D&D one-shot myself.
Really?
Yeah,
Have you played it all since the campaign from high school? Man,
yeah. That was
that was so long ago.
Yeah, that was senior year of high school. I think you were a junior, but yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
was. I no, I to answer your question, I have not. It was a great experience, uh, and yeah, just one of the people in the math department organized it, and um, you know, I guess one of the questions I wanted to ask here is, um, you know, the art of doing a one shot is very interesting to me because number one, when you think about it, it might seem it might seem more restrictive, because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we only have a certain amount of time here, but also it seems a little bit less restrictive in some sense where like, okay, since we are here for just a short time, we can maybe be a little bit freakier and not really worry about long-term consequences that we have to deal with week to week. So I was
Mm-hmm.
just wondering your thoughts on like, um, uh, if you felt that one shots are more or less restrictive on the format.
I have always felt that one shots can be more restrictive to me because I'm very bad at one shots. Because I all see my ideas always tend to be like, I like when I do a one shot, I always leave things open in case people want to always go back to them.
Hmm.
What was one time a one shot turned into a week long campaign over the course of a break. As sort of we call those mini campaigns in my groups,
Yeah.
where a one shot ends up turning into like a whole mini arc of an adventure, or like a week long thing, or maybe like a couple of sessions, two, three, usually leading into 2 or 3 shots,
Hmm. Okay.
that kind of thing. I've never really been good at sitting down and doing just a one shot for
Yeah.
me. I've done a few of them. Like I've done Halloween one shots, and
Hmm.
I've done like the first time I DM'd Dagger Heart. I did a one shot. Uh, that much like everything else, I left kind of open to potentially return to if people ever wanted to pick those characters back up. Um, a lot of the JoJo adventures, say for the very first one, started as one shots that expanded out into their own thing.
Yeah.
Or we needed something to gap fill um, for a week. We didn't have anything, so we did something else, and that expanded into its own thing later.
Right.
Like I have an entire setting of cyberpunk, like mixed with the supernatural elements of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because of a one shot that we did, where we all made characters in 45 minutes and then just went with it.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Um.
So it's not that I find it like I enjoy a good one shot because it can either expand out into something that could be done later, or it can just be a nice isolated thing. I find me personally, I find it to be more intuitive because I'm always thinking about, well, what could I do with it next time? Like
Right. Yeah.
I'm always like when I do tabletop stories, I'm like just thinking about, well, now that it's done, what more could I go with it? I made a little mini setting. What more could I do with that? It's always that
Right.
kind of thought for me.
Yeah. So it is definitely an interesting distinction, but one of the a couple of the players that we played with recently, they were they were new to D&D, and it
Mm-hmm.
was really funny seeing them because they didn't really come prepared with a backstory or anything, and so he was like, okay, let's just like do a decision tree for you and decide like, oh, what was your character's occupation, and then they rolled some dice and he was like, oh, it turns out you're a discredited academic. And he's like, oh, great, okay. um, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think it's just a wonderful way to introduce this kind of role-playing experience to people of like, oh, it turns out nerds and theater kids have a shared part of the Venn diagram, right? Um, but I guess my other question here, something that did come up in the one shot, is
Yeah.
we were eventually in danger of splitting up. And of course, this is a trope in horror movies where you're not supposed to do it. But apparently, that's also a
Yep.
trope in D&D. A lot of people
Never
say,
split the party is the good old saying when it comes to D&D.
right, exactly. So I guess like, I've heard various reasonings for that, but I was curious as to how you personally would articulate, like, why do you not want to split the party?
It tends to leave people open without a gap. It tends to, like, splitting the party when it comes to, like, playing is always an interesting experience, because it can lead to more dangers because you're not at full strength with the whole group. You don't have a person to back you up or something else. Or, like, if you're a small group, that's even worse of an idea. Or if you're a larger group, then you could probably afford to, because you can split it up more evenly. As a DM's perspective on it, I am always interested when how they're going to react when I split them up, or when they decide to split up. One of my favorite sessions that I ever did was a JoJo session in that little week-long campaign that I did. That was going to be a one-shot, but that expanded during the whole week-long break that we had at the time. That ended up splitting the party in half, where 2 of them were off on their own within one of the NPCs, and 3 of them were investigating another part. Where simultaneously both groups got attacked at the same time, and we were cutting back and forth like an actual episode of JoJo, back and forth between the action, 2 different elements of the action that were playing out the exact same time. And I've had a lot of positive reception from that, because it made people think how they're going to use their abilities in this environment when separated from the others. And this was probably the first time some of their characters were probably trying to work together with each other. So, in actual combat, or there was proper danger. So, it ended up being a very memorable point. I still get some people to mention that to me today, or to this day, about it. That it was it felt a lot like the actual show, which is good. And I've always kind of kept it on the back of my mind that it's very dangerous to split a party, because you can always risk bad things happening. But it can lead to some pretty interesting elements, and that's kind of given me that perspective on that. Or in the case of my recently finished Curse of Strahd, a D&D campaign run by a buddy of mine, one of our players got replaced by a copy of themselves, and we had to figure... We knew about that, but our characters didn't. So... That was a whole, like, several session role-playing experience trying to, the players themselves knew. We knew. But the characters didn't. So we had to find a way to naturally figure that out.
Dramatic irony, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, on one hand, yeah, it's kind of a trope. You shouldn't split it, because it can unironically lead to someone dying. It has in the past. It probably will in the future. And there's a reason it's a saying. But sometimes rules can be broken, and that's okay.
Yeah, it does seem like one of those rules where it's like, okay, if you're not experienced as a GM, maybe try to follow the rules. But as you said, I mean, rules are meant to be broken. And, it's like in music theory, like, oh, you're not supposed to use parallel fourths or parallel fifths. And it's like, okay, well, if you know how to use them properly, it's not a complete faux pas. You could break rules if you have enough experience. But that's some fascinating perspectives there. I guess that's all I had to ask in that. So thank you for your vast insight as always.
Alrighty, well, with that, we are going to flip on over to the media news segment. We're going to talk about some of the things that went over in the last week, like some follow-ups to some of the Warhammer Skulls announcements, some movie reveals, and other things that have been announced within the last week. And we'll see you in a quick 2-second flip. Hello everyone, welcome to segment number 2 of the Oddcast, our usual media news segment, where we go over the previous week's events of what was going on in the world of pop culture, media, news, and movies, and all that other stuff. I said it all in the intro, and more. So, let's run it down. What happened this previous week?
Run it down for me, gamer.
Where to start? We got some new pictures and a new post from Bandai Namco Entertainment from Europe this time. About some of the upcoming characters. I don't remember if these are new or old pictures, but we have new pictures of some of the upcoming characters for Sparking Zero Super Limit Breaking Neo, which is dropping this summer of this year, featuring a bunch of 30 plus new characters, and reinforces my excitement for that, because honestly, it's just cool to see that we're getting so much in this next coming DLC.
Yeah, I mean there were already so many characters at the start at release, and the fact that we're getting even more, it's just, yeah, it gives me hope that this is going to turn into sort of a like a super version of Smash Ultimate, you know.
We got one Tao Pai Pai, we got Grandpa Gohan, Zanya, and Champa. Certainly, I mean, hey, it's certainly a pick of the litter for these guys. We got like Dragon Ball reps, one of the movie reps, and Super character that was kind of missing from the roster when it came out. And you know, it's reinforces my excitement for that DLC with how much is going on. We talked a little bit about the VJUP scans from last week that went over some of the information. Not too much on news saying, hey, it's real, it's coming, and it's gonna be fun.
You know,
Yeah,
I still
it's just
I
yeah.
still remember you putting Tao Pai Pai at number 5. I'm not gonna let you live that down.
I didn't know what the rest was going to be.
All right, continue.
It's a top 5 list. 5 is not bad.
Right. You know, I think categorically speaking, 5 is bad on a top 5 list. But
Just shut.
Okay.
Shush. Of all things to be crossing over with Persona 5, Call of Duty Mobile is not something I expected to see pop up.
Yeah. Strange, isn't it?
Yeah. It is a little strange.
Just aesthetically speaking, I don't know if I could think of a game that's more farther removed from Persona than Call of Duty. It's much less vibrant, it's much less story focused, it's much more like just online competitive thing versus like storytelling RPG kind of thing. So yeah, kind of like a I don't know, maybe it's an opposites attract situation.
It doesn't really surprise me. On one hand, yeah, it's really surprising, but also on the other hand, I'm like, well, it's COD Mobile, so it's a little different. But like the one of the previous like Call of Duty games had like Alucard from Hellsing, like Ariana Grande, Beavis and Butthead, like all these Gundam, all these wild crossovers in it.
Right.
Like, out of all the ones I named, I think Alucard is the only one I think that like makes the most sense to the amount of like heavy duty focus on gunplay like that.
Sure.
It makes, I guess, a little bit of sense, but not really. I guess Gundam kind of also it had a 40K crossover as well. Like a lot of stuff has crossed over with COD, and it kind of had they were really trying to be Fortnite for a while there.
Yeah, I mean, the cynical part of my brain says, like, oh, Call of Duty is just trying to play Gotta Catch 'Em All with all of the shiny IPs. Right?
I mean, that is exactly what, again, it's trying to be Fortnite, but Fortnite makes it more work by really playing into it more.
Yeah. That's fair.
Like, I still remember, like, one of the like, ending event of the last season. I think it was the last season of Fortnite, where it was, like, some giant eldritch entity was fought against by, like, Godzilla, Hatsune Miku, the K-pop Demon Hunters, Optimus Prime, and the Power Rangers Megazord. That Fortnite plays the whole toy box like feel way more than COD ever did. Like, period.
True.
So, and I'm just like, they're trying. COD for a while, they was really trying to capture that like multiple IP kind of energy, and I was trying to pull people in, you know, and it didn't really work because of the way more realistic style that everything clashed to it. Again, except for like maybe Alucard, and you could argue maybe 40K.
Yeah.
Even then, the 40K crossover for COD. Have you ever seen what that looks like?
No, actually.
Oh
You're
boy,
about to
hold
send it
on.
to
Let
the
me.
group chat.
I'm gonna see 2 out of 3 of these doesn't look terrible. The third one, on the other hand.
All right, let's see. Oh my God.
From left to the right, we have a guardsman, which makes sense. That's like the main military. There's the main normal human military in 40k. Sister of Battle again looks more or less fine. The guy on the right with ultramarine, space marine-esque armor, with like shades.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember how old this is now. Like,
I don't think I've used this phrase yet on the podcast, but this situation calls for it. These people need to put the fries in the bag.
I think there were in Modern Warfare 3, there were some Warhammer 40k skins that were like full on like proper Space Marines, but still it's kind of disproportionate because Space Marines are like giant, and so shrinking them down and kind of putting them on is still kind of odd. I remember that being a thing. I'd have to see.
Right. Well.
But.
Oh well.
Yeah.
I guess we may or may not see how that goes because neither of us. I mean, I assume you probably don't play a whole bunch of COD.
The only COD I play nowadays is Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 2 because I play zombies with my friends.
Sure.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
I haven't really done anything else since we kind of play zombies just for funsies.
Right.
Other than that, I haven't bought a new. I think the newest COD game I have played was, I want to say, Cold War, and I don't remember when that was released. That came out, I think, when I was a couple years ago, when I was early in college, give or take, freshman year maybe. I don't know. I think it was new at the time.
Yeah.
This goes to show how much I just don't know. I didn't buy it either. I was playing on somebody else's device.
Right.
But yeah, let's see. Moving on from that, we got a new trailer for X-Men 97 Season 2. Just dropped a little while ago. Looks very, very good. I am very excited. Have you seen X-Men 97, Ethan?
Well, I've seen a lot of discourse, and I've seen images and stuff. I really love the idea. Like, I have heard through the grapevine that, like, not only does X-Men 97 do, like, all of the action X-Men stuff that you would expect, but also it does a lot of the slice-of-life stuff that were also in the earlier material, like, oh, there's just an episode where they play basketball, and that, honestly, that sounds delightful.
Yeah, to be fair, I also haven't seen it personally. I've been meaning to watch it for forever, but this new trailer looks very, very good.
Yeah.
Obviously, I got spoiled on stuff about the show because, when it was coming out, people were putting clips everywhere, and that tends to pop up on somebody's feed when you least expect it. Right. After this episode goes up, we're going to have 3, independent major gaming events happen. PlayStation State of Play, Summer Games Fest, and the Xbox Showcase, and the Gears of War E-Day Direct. All happening this week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Well, this week as of post-recording. Well, actually, now that I say that, PlayStation State of Play is coming out June 2nd. Mm-hmm. Games Fest is on the 5th, and the Xbox Showcase is on the 7th. So we'll probably be recording the next episode when the Xbox Game Showcase happens. So we'll have to see on that.
For sure.
If there's anything interesting, we'll make sure to let you know. And after that, we got the title for the sequel to the Minecraft movie. A Minecraft movie squared.
Yes. Minecraft multiplied by Minecraft, if you will. Yeah.
I love it. I love that title so much.
Yes.
I there's gonna be a third one. With how much money the first one made, to my recollection. The second one's probably gonna do comparably well because it's still Minecraft. And given just the sheer popularity, even if a bit ironic, the popularity of the Minecraft movie, I thoroughly enjoyed that film as kind of just a really fun romp more than anything.
So forgive me for continuing to insert mathematics into this podcast, but
Yes.
I find it interesting that we're not doing Minecraft 2. This is not Minecraft plus Minecraft. We're not simply just adding another Minecraft. We are taking Minecraft squared, which is Minecraft times Minecraft. And that means that we are adding Minecraft to itself Minecraft times. So the implications of that are potentially staggering. We'll have to see whether or not Jack Black continues one of his long-standing traditions of doing songs, which unfortunately we did not see in Mario Galaxy.
There was a very brief sign of Peaches in Mario Galaxy. That's about all we got.
That's true.
That's true. And who knows? Maybe. I'm very curious to see where this is going to go. There were some reports of the actor's name escapes me. I'll try and find the posts again about a guy who's going to be playing a character very closely looking to Steve, and people are saying, "Oh my God, is his name going to be Brian? Is he not going to be a hero? Is he Hero Brian even?"
Oh.
Wow. I have no idea. Probably not. That'd be really, really funny.
Yes.
Really funny if they should announce that and say before the movie comes out, they say they removed him from the film, announce it in some patch notes.
that would be really, really funny.
I'm very excited. I really did enjoy this, the goofy fun of the first movie. I think it could have been way better as a film.
Yes.
And it felt way too fast. It's kind of like my complaints about Mario Galaxy. It kind of felt way too fast, but even then, I think the Mario movie has a little bit more to it. I think. I'd have to watch them back to back to really make that comparison proper. But I like the Mario Galaxy movie. I enjoyed my time with it, even if it is a little plot light.
Yeah, it is pretty hollow. There's some funny jokes in it just because of who's in the cast, but I mean. Yeah, I think it was a good decision to call it a Minecraft movie instead of the Minecraft movie, because at this point, I mean, Minecraft is such a massive nebulous concept that isn't even there are literally video essays on the internet that are is Minecraft a game? Because it's all encompassing. It's almost like a lifestyle, There's so many things you can do in it, and it's you can't possibly hope to create one definitive cinematic experience that represents all that which is Minecraft, right? So
Minecraft is so many different things to so many different people. There's a reason why it's probably going to go down in history as one of the most liked and remembered games.
Yeah.
In general. There's a reason why it has become the thing that it is. It's because it's so many different things, so many different people. And to end off our segment, we have a new devlog sort of following up from Warhammer Skulls from Fat Shark and the team behind Warhammer 40k Darktide. We have going over the design elements, some of the design elements of their new upcoming class, the Mechanicus Skitarii, showing off a lot of interesting concept art and insights into the design of this upcoming class. It all looks very exciting. It's coming out later this month. Well, actually, it's still May, so not just yet. June 23rd.
So
it's coming out June 23rd. Yes.
Clayton, what's your favorite part about this design of the Skitarii?
Well, personally, I've always been a big fan of the Adeptus Mechanicus, the faction that the Skitarii comes from. They've always had a mix of old and new, old era tech and of even of our past. Look at the rifles that they're holding, the weapons that they're holding. They're made partially of wood and steel, but yet they fire like Teslas, like Tesla guns.
Yeah.
It's always been an aesthetic thing for me. And as for my favorite piece of art in this entire thing, it's probably the first piece of concept art. How much color it has, yet how much light it represents, despite being black and white. How you can still feel the glow of the usually blue plasma, the shadow overtaking the cloak. How you can still see some of the mechanical detail, and it is very good. I follow this artist on Twitter, and they do fantastic work.
Yeah, I love how the gun almost gives me a little bit of chainsaw energy, the way he's holding it.
Oh,
Um, I don't
I
know,
could kind of see it and how hold it.
but yeah, and I also love like the breathing cylinder that he has. It's
Oh,
always
you mean in the one with showing off all of the what's underneath the metal?
yeah.
Yeah, I believe that to be a it's either a breathing apparatus or one of them might be a breathing apparatus. The other might be a vox. Vox is sort of a word catch-all term used for like communication tech
Oh,
in
right.
for humanity in 40K. Um, uh, so it's like a I forget the exact term. It's like a vox amplifier. So there's a certain thing they call like for it amplifies your voice.
Sure.
The name
Uh, um,
escapes me right now.
a microphone, if you will.
It is essentially a microphone. It's a fancy word for a microphone, yes,
Yeah.
or a speaker, or a communication network. Vox X, something usually, like Vox communicator or Vox amplifier, that kind of thing.
Yes. Very techy. Very
There's a piece of
savvy.
concept I want to. Very techy, very savvy, yes. There's a piece of concept that I do want to put focus on before we end up our segment, though. The one between the rifle one and the showing what's underneath the metal. That one with like the little like storyboards on the side
Yeah.
with all like little mechanical doodads. The article points that out as a layout idea and some art, as well as a visual, like a rough visual, for the character creation process in game, where you are, according to a member of the article, going to be essentially watching the building process happen as you make your character. So you get to see, sort of like as you construct, you are going to be, yes, making it, but also you're going to be constructing one as you go on. I think that's a very good and flavorful way to do that.
Wow, that's neat.
Yeah, it is neat.
I am a big fan
I'm
of
very
that.
interested to see what's going to happen with that.
Mhm.
You don't have to wait too long. Only a few weeks.
Yep.
All right, and with that, we're going to wrap up the segment and go on to talk about Spider-Man Noir, the newly released series.
Indeed.
Oh boy. Segment number 3 is here, baby. Our usual elevator pitch, where we will go over the first 3 episodes of TV, anime, or other things, the full movies, the first few chapters of books, TTRPG rule books, and anything else we can think of. Maybe even one day we might review some comics at some point. Speaking of comics and TV, today we're reviewing Spider-Man Noir, the newly released Amazon video series. Although we are reviewing, I'd say the very first 3 episodes, we're actually only reviewing the first episode today. Because both of us didn't realize that these episodes were about 40 minutes each. Goes to show we are too anime brained.
We're anime pilled, and we are truly we are truly sustained by this first episode. I think this was quite enough to get the vibe, I would say.
I agree. Though I will definitely be watching the rest of it because they put the entire season out in one go, and I'm like, ooh.
Right. Yes.
Oh boy.
Seasonal
Okay.
releases are very good. I'm a fan.
Oh man. Okay. Where to start?
So,
Like,
Spider Noir. I'm gonna do my best to describe the premise of this, because, yeah, it's a novel concept, right? We have Nicolas Cage, and there's a reason I'm starting this premise description with him, because I think that some people's ears might just perk up at the name, and they're just gonna go see it regardless of what it is. If it's got Nicolas Cage's name on the tin, we might as well give it a try, right?
reprising his role from the Spider-Verse films as voicing Spider-Man Noir. He's now playing him in live action.
Yeah. And it is in the film noir aesthetic. There's a black and white variant of this. It's kind of 1930s New York style, and it really focuses on. It's like a darker take on the Spider-Man character. It's this particular Spider-Man is sort of an older man, and he is a little bit more weathered, he's a little bit more seasoned, and he's a little bit more cynical than our usual Peter Parker dealings. And, he takes the sort of with great power comes great responsibility shebang in a new direction where he's like, okay, well, instead of taking the power and responsibility, I'm just going to, just disregard. I'm just going to discard it because his character goes through a tragedy and, becomes a little bit jaded because of it.
You watched it in color, and I watched it in black and white. We keep doing this where we watch two different versions of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like subs and dubs, or I guess in this case, color and black and white. And I will say, I've seen bits of the show in color, and I've seen bits of it in black and white. And I will say, this show looks so pretty. It's beautiful.
It really does. Yeah.
I am obsessed with how this show is shot, how it looks, how just it captures the visual super duper well.
Yeah.
And I just really like it because of that.
Something that you said earlier that really got my attention that I didn't really think about was, like, in order to do something in black and white, you have to be able to capture much more color and shading just so that you can tell what's going on. And so the colored version of this actually looks more colorful than a lot of other media, which is pretty interesting.
It really does. It's the colored version of what I've seen of Eclipse and all that stuff. It looks very vibrant.
Yeah.
Like, but still kind of like in that kind of like, it still keep, just because it's like vibrant doesn't mean like it's like still doesn't keep that kind of like drama noir-esque sense.
Sure.
But in order for it to be that way, it needs to be like that vibrant, so that it needs to have that pop of color to make it so it can be distinguished in a black and white screen. You can't just throw something on there and for it to work. You have to play around that.
Yeah.
And it really pays off. It's good. It really is a good, strong visual.
Yeah. So as far as the story goes, I actually did find it just a little bit disjointed at times, like, because they are, they are trying to set up all of the pieces that will pay off later on in the show. And, we get these multiple clients. And, at first I thought that we were actually going to keep up with all of these clients throughout the episode and we're going to get like, a villain from each of them or something. But no, I think it was just sort of an establishing situation. Like, oh, this guy has an office, right?
This is very much we're establishing what the current state of all the characters we're going to be following is, what they're doing, what they're kind of getting involved with. It establishes a little bit of the backstory, just a little bit for Ben.
Right.
And it definitely, I agree, it kind of feels a little disjointed, but also I can very much tell that this is all going to be set up, moved in, played off, especially at that little blurb at the end where we see kind of a little flash forward of the future, kind of to show off what the next episode's going to be like, and maybe the series is going to be like. And I'm excited. This entire episode kept me engaged pretty much the whole time, with its kind of like, honestly, the disjointedness helped me because it kept things kind of flowing in different directions that I could like kind of keep track in my brain. That are like, okay, well that's going, well that's that, well, where is that going to go? Yeah,
where is this sentence going to go?
I don't know. Probably straight down into the pit.
So, you know what? I really did enjoy his Ben Reilly's secretary. She.
Yeah. Oh, her name is Janet, right?
I think so. I think Janet is
yes.
right. I just thought she was so funny. Like he seems to be going through this like. So this show's interpretation of the classic, spider sense is that he seems to get this sort of vague tingling in the back of his neck, and it actually seems to hurt him a little bit whenever something's going on, and he does that a couple times, and he's like, it's nothing. And she's like, oh, you should listen to that. That instinct is usually right about things. And he's like, well, the problem is I don't really know what it's trying to tell me right now. And then and then what she does is she's like, oh, wait, it's saying that you should pay me more. And he's like, all right, look, I'll get to it, and
it's telling you to pay your secretary.
Yeah, exactly. So
it really is. Speaking of the characters, I think Nicolas Cage is doing a great job as Ben Reilly, as Detective Ben Reilly.
Yes.
Investigator Ben Reilly. He's a private eye.
Yeah, private investigator.
In the that is definitely more of a Spider-Verse edition, if I'm remembering correctly. In the original comic Spider-Man Noir, Peter is a investigative journalist, which are similar yet different, kind of jobs.
Yeah. I do.
They give kind of a similar energy, but
Sure.
Go ahead.
I do really like how Ben seems to be sort of self-sabotaging constantly, and especially when it comes to his financials, because he's constantly buying old fashions and talking to people, and he's he always puts himself in these situations where he could be paid for something, but he decides not to take the money because it's the right thing to do. And so you get this sense of even though he is very cynical and jaded, he's a good person inside,
Mm-hmm. He hasn't been the hero. He hasn't been Spider-Man for 5 years now.
Yeah.
But it's clear that despite the fact he's left that part of him behind for now, that he clearly still has that heart that he had.
Yeah. For sure.
And the inciting incident for him to leave that was the death of his fiancée.
Right.
Her name was Ruby, who gives him that great power was great responsibility. That was her saying in this interpretation of events.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall if the comic had that. It's been a while since I've literally read that opening introductory issue to that series. I know he's Peter in the comic of Noir
Mm-hmm.
had both his aunt and uncle, I believe, were killed. So obviously it's still kind of that same Great Depression-esque setting,
Mm-hmm.
but the Peter in the comic is raised by counterculture socialists.
Yeah.
Who were really fighting against the depression as going for that heavy political angle. The original Noir run's very sweeped in that political drama of that era.
Yeah.
Really leaning into that a lot with its messages. You don't get that too much with the current, with his reappearances or in Spider-Verse, but that doesn't make this new interpretation bad. I find Nicolas Cage's as Ben Reilly, his Spider-Man, to be extremely entertaining. He's different from this. He still keeps up at that. He still thrives in this setting, but he's not the dripped in political drama that the original comic was. Which as an adaptation, people say that's a bad thing, but I find the difference to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
I can now have these two pieces of media that are connected under the same name, but that I can still give a very different experience out of. That's why I like it so much. I really do enjoy his character work in this. I think you're right. He kind of he keeps intentionally self-sabotaging to either do the right thing or to just just try and be a good person in times where he's desperate. He knows he's desperate, but he keeps doing the right thing despite the fact that he is. I think that plays well to his character.
Right. Yeah, for sure, I agree. And something else I noticed about this is I think the dialogue is actually really witty,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really sharp.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of this sort of David Fincher style of writing where almost every line is some kind of quippy, like double entendre. Like an example is whenever he's talking to, let's see, I'm forgetting everybody's characters, but it's the guy that he's talking to in the cafe where he says, the other guy is like, okay, well, why are you doing all of these weird jobs? And he's like, well, beggars can't be choosers, right? And the other guy's like, yeah, unless you choose to be a beggar, right? And so not only is that kind of a fun, quippy line, but like
Yeah.
it also kind of lets us know a little bit of subtle exposition about, this guy, he could be accepting more responsibility than he currently is, right? And he's a little bit kind of avoiding that in recent years. So.
Mm-hmm. It really is. You're right about the dialogue. A lot of the dialogue is just really, really good. It's quippy. It's quick, well handled. It is entertaining, and from what I've seen, like clips and bits and pieces of the later episodes, because of the whole season drop, people are going to post clips all the time, and I've seen some of them, and it I think it maintains that really well from what I've seen.
Yeah.
It's very interesting thus far, and the brief glimpses of action that we see, like the opening like swing through the city, like the opening like. I find it very interesting that the opening line is mentioning the multiverse.
Yeah. That is
that is pretty funny. It gives kind of credence that this might be the same version we see in Spider-Verse. I have no idea if that's really, if that's like a cheeky nod or if that's supposed to be like something to actually something greater. I have no clue. But I just like when this show does action so far, this first episode, it doesn't have too much of it. But what it does have is it's either really good like brief moments of like who he used to be, like the brief moments of like the one like big fight we get is against this version of Sandman, and it's very grounded. Like the fight is very grounded, using the environment. We only get like a few bits of him actually using his webs because he's just now getting back into the proper feel of doing this. It's been 5 years, and I think it really is. It's really well executed. I mentioned this. I think I mentioned this earlier before we had the technical issues. Is that like the brief glimpse, like web swinging we get in this show looks really, really good.
Yeah, and to your point about the combat being very grounded, I do like how he is really getting back into the swing of things, so to speak. No pun intended, but he whenever he swings himself back up onto the building, like, you can tell like, okay, this guy has like a really good sort of intuitive understanding of how physics works and how he can move his body. But also when he slams back onto the roof, he like does it really maladroitly, and he kind of stumbles around and kind of takes a minute to get back up. And you can tell like, okay, he's not as dexterous as he used to be. Maybe he never was particularly dexterous, but he has these powers. So it's kind of an interesting departure from the normal, really nimble, agile depiction of Peter Parker.
Oh yeah, I guess I did. I think I brought it up either in a little previous pre-discussion of this. Is that his name is Ben Reilly, named one of the clones of Peter in the good old clone saga everybody likes so much. No, they don't. Yep. I find that interesting. I imagine that if I recall correctly, what I kind of heard about kind of the back scene of that was that they changed his name so they could like he could do all these things that were like account for the setting. The name change sort of there to sort of like because can't have Peter Parker doing these things, but Ben Reilly doing these things is different. I wonder if they're like. I wonder if that's like the case of where he's always been named Ben, or if like he's like changed his name at some. I wonder if that's going to be a thing in the later story. I don't know. It's kind of when I first heard, I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. That's different. I was like, I wonder if it's going to be like a plot line, if that's going to be like it's always been the case just to make it like different. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it could just be as simple as a choice made out of vibe. Like, hey, we don't want this to have like as a cartoonish of a vibe as some of the other Stan Lee kind of alliterative names like Peter Parker or Reed Richards or Bruce Banner, right? Like these are they sound very comic booky. So yeah, it might just be to establish a tone. I don't know.
But overall, I really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I would probably I think I would give this episode an 8. We've never really rated things like this before, but I don't know if I would give it. I think I would give it an 8 out of 10. I think I enjoyed though it is a setup episode. I really enjoyed this setup episode. I think what it establishes is good. I'm very interested to see where it goes, and I am probably going to watch the rest of it between now and next recording. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. I liked a lot of stuff in here. I liked the dialogue. I don't know. If I were to give it something out of 10, I might be a little bit lower on it. I might be like 6.5 or so, but I just think that it's a little bit
That's fair.
It seems a little bit schizophrenic but obviously, that's just because they're trying to set up a world and all that, so I get it. There you go. Those are our thoughts on Spider-Noir.
All right. And with that, yeah, those are thoughts on Spider-Noir. And if you would like to hear our thoughts about more stuff, or more media news, or just kind of what's going on in the world around us, then check back with us next week, next Friday and or Saturday.
Yeah.
We will see you all next time. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you have a good, or at least an odd day.
Catch you later.